At 64 years old, gospel legend Donnie McClurkin has broken his silence with a confession that has left fans heartbroken, stunned, and in tears. For decades, he's been the voice behind some of the most powerful songs in gospel history. But now, he's opening up about a deeply personal truth he's kept hidden for years. What he revealed shocked even his closest friends in the faith community and has everyone asking the same question. How could a man of such strong faith carry this kind of pain alone for so long? You're about to hear the emotional truth behind Donnie McClurkin's shocking confession, a story that goes beyond music, beyond fame, and dives deep into faith, struggle, and redemption. For years, Donnie McClurkin has been known as one of the most respected and influential voices in gospel music. His songs like Stand, We Fall Down, and Great Is Your Mercy have comforted millions across the globe. He's preached on the biggest stages, stood beside some of the most powerful names in ministry, and built a legacy rooted in worship and perseverance. But behind the fame, behind the praise and the lights, there has always been a deeper story, one that Donnie himself has only now decided to confront publicly. Recently, at the age of 64, McClurkin made a confession that shocked his fans and left many speechless. Known for his openness about his past struggles and faith journey, this time his words carried a weight that no one expected. It wasn't about music, fame, or success. It was about his personal life, his battles, and the emotional scars that still shape who he is today. When Donnie spoke, he didn't hold back. He talked about loneliness, about wondering if he would ever find lasting love, and about the internal struggles that have haunted him for decades. He admitted that while God has blessed him with an incredible ministry and a global platform, there's still a part of his heart that feels incomplete. This raw emotional honesty has sparked a wave of reactions from both fans and fellow gospel artists. Many say it's one of the most vulnerable moments of his career. Others believe it's his way of bringing awareness to something the church often overlooks: the silent pain many believers carry behind the mask of faith. In this video, we'll unpack exactly what Donnie McClurkin revealed, why this confession is shaking the gospel world, and how it connects to his past struggles, including trauma, faith challenges, and the cost of being transparent in an industry that expects perfection. Stay tuned, because as we explore the story behind Donnie's words, you'll discover that what he said might just redefine how we see one of gospel's greatest living legends. Before the world ever heard the voice that would move nations, Donnie McClurkin was just a young boy from Amityville, New York, a boy who faced heartbreak long before he ever found a microphone. His story begins not on the grand stages or under the spotlight, but in the quiet, painful corners of his childhood home. At a young age, Donnie experienced a series of devastating events that would leave lifelong scars. He was only 8 years old when tragedy first struck. His 2-year-old brother was hit and killed by a car. That moment shattered the innocence of his early years and set off a chain of trauma that would follow him well into adulthood. But the pain didn't stop there. In several interviews, Donnie has spoken about being sexually abused as a child, first by his uncle and later by his uncle's son. These horrific experiences left him confused, broken, and searching for comfort in a world that offered him none. "I was just a child," he once said, "and my innocence was stolen from me." It's these early wounds, he explained, that shaped much of the emotional struggle he has faced throughout his life. While the world saw a strong, charismatic man of faith, inside he was still battling the memories of those dark years. And even though he went on to find salvation and healing through Christ, the scars remained. During his teenage years, music became his refuge. The church was his safe place, a sanctuary where he could pour out his pain through song and find solace in God's presence. He joined the church choir, and before long, his voice became known throughout the community. People would come just to hear him sing, describing his voice as anointed, powerful, and healing. But few knew the weight behind that voice, the years of trauma that pushed him closer to God and gave his music its soul-stirring power. Donnie has often said that if it weren't for music, he doesn't know where he'd be. The church gave him a purpose, and the gospel gave him a reason to live. But that doesn't mean the pain disappeared. It was still there, buried beneath the smiles, the sermons, and the songs. As he grew older, Donnie faced another kind of challenge, one that would bring him both fame and controversy. When his musical career began to take off in the 1980s and 90s, he was thrust into the spotlight in a way he never expected. Suddenly, the boy who once sang to escape his pain was being celebrated as one of gospel's most dynamic new voices. He was touring, recording, and ministering around the world. His songs like We Fall Down and Stand became anthems for anyone struggling to hold on. But even as his star rose, he continued to battle loneliness and emotional isolation behind closed doors. Donnie has said that fame doesn't fill the void, it only makes the silence louder. The more people praised him, the more he felt pressure to hide the parts of his story that didn't fit the image of a perfect gospel star. That tension between being celebrated publicly and suffering privately became a defining part of his life. And it's that very tension that makes his recent confession so powerful. Because for Donnie McClurkin, the story of faith has always been intertwined with the story of pain. His early experiences of trauma, rejection, and loss shaped the man he became. Both the worship leader we see on stage and the vulnerable soul we rarely hear about. When Donnie sat down and began to speak about his struggles with loneliness, love, and identity, he wasn't just speaking for himself. He was giving a voice to millions who feel unseen in the church, people who smile every Sunday but cry every night. In his confession, he said something that struck a chord with everyone listening. You can sing, you can preach, you can lead thousands, and still feel completely alone. Those words revealed more than pain. They revealed a man who had spent a lifetime trying to reconcile his calling with his humanity. And that's where the next chapter of this story begins, when Donnie decided to open up publicly about his personal struggles, even though he knew it would shake the gospel world to its core. For decades, Donnie McClurkin has stood as one of the most respected figures in gospel music, a man whose testimony and talent have inspired millions. But at 64 years old, he shared something that no one saw coming. It wasn't a new song or another album release. It was a confession, one that would strip away every layer of fame, every mask of perfection, and expose a deeply human truth that left fans and fellow believers stunned. It began during an emotional interview where Donnie sat down to reflect on his life and legacy. As he spoke about his journey, his voice began to crack. His usual confidence was replaced by raw honesty. Then he said the words that caught everyone off guard. I may die alone. Those 4 words sent shockwaves through the gospel community. Donnie McClurkin, the man who had ministered to millions about faith, healing, and restoration, was admitting that despite all his success, he still struggled with loneliness and the idea that he might never experience lasting love or companionship. He went on to explain that while his life has been full of purpose and blessings, it's also been filled with silence, the kind that creeps in after the applause fades. I've done ministry. I've traveled the world, but I come home to an empty house, he shared. I have family, I have friends, but I don't have what most people dream of, a partner, a life companion. I've learned to accept that maybe that's just not part of my story. For a man who's always been open about his struggles, this confession struck differently. It wasn't just another testimony. It was a cry from the heart of someone who had given everything to God, his career, his time, his voice, and was still waiting for certain prayers to be answered. What made this moment even more emotional was that it wasn't the first time Donnie had opened up about his inner battles. Over the years, he's spoken candidly about his past trauma, his experiences with temptation, and his complicated relationship with love and identity. But this time, his tone wasn't one of struggle, it was one of surrender. He wasn't seeking sympathy or understanding. He was simply telling the truth. I'm not bitter, he said. I'm grateful. I've learned that some people are called to serve God in ways that don't always include a family of their own. Maybe that's my assignment. Still, hearing him say those words brought tears to the eyes of many who have followed his journey. Fans flooded social media with emotional messages, sharing how his honesty made them reflect on their own struggles. It broke my heart, one fan wrote. But it also reminded me that even our heroes are human. Fellow gospel artists also spoke out, expressing both support and admiration. Tasha Cobbs Leonard commented that Donnie's courage to be transparent is what makes his ministry so powerful. Others like Kirk Franklin and Marvin Sapp praised his strength, saying that his vulnerability was a lesson for the entire gospel community. But while many offered love and understanding, others expressed concern. Some questioned whether Donnie's words reflected a deeper emotional exhaustion, the kind that comes after decades of pouring out into others without having someone to pour back into you. During the interview, Donnie admitted that he's wrestled with that emptiness. He said, "Sometimes I wonder, what do I have when the singing stops? What happens when the lights go out and there's no one left in the room? That's when I talk to God the most. That's when I cry." He also opened up about the pressure that comes with being in the public eye, especially within the church. For years, he felt like he had to live up to an image of spiritual perfection. He couldn't show weakness, couldn't show loneliness, and couldn't admit when he was hurting. "People look at you and think you have it all," he said. "But they don't see the nights when you're praying just to make it through." This confession, raw, real, and painfully human, revealed a side of Donnie McClurkin that few had ever seen before. It reminded everyone that no matter how strong someone seems, they still need love, understanding, and grace. But Donnie didn't leave his audience in despair. In true McClurkin fashion, he shifted the conversation back to faith. "Even if I never have someone by my side," he said, "I'm never truly alone. God has been faithful, and He's been my companion through it all. My life may not look like I imagined, but it's still full of purpose." That moment of acknowledging loneliness, yet clinging to faith, struck a chord with millions. It wasn't the confession itself